Hey everyone! If you're struggling to learn programming and feeling like it's impossible without a CS degree or an expensive bootcamp, then trust me, I've been there. Just a few months ago, I was a mechanical engineer with zero coding experience. I didn't even know what the programming language was. On top of that, I didn't have the money to buy courses or enroll in any bootcamp. So I had to find a way to teach myself everything for free. If you're in the same situation, I want you to know that it's absolutely possible to learn to code and land a job even if you start from nothing. In this video, I'll take you through my journey of how I went from knowing nothing about programming to getting hired as a software developer in just 3 months. If you're looking for motivation and a roadmap to start learning, stay with me till the end because I'll share all the key lessons I learned along the way. And hey, if you're enjoying this content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future videos that help you on your coding journey. At first, the idea of switching careers felt overwhelming, but I reminded myself that every skill starts with zero knowledge. My background in mechanical engineering taught me problem solving and logical thinking, two essential skills for coding. I just had to apply them in a new way. The biggest challenge was getting past the fear of the unknown, but once I committed to learning, things started to change. I remember sitting in front of my computer, staring at lines of code that looked like a foreign language. The frustration was real, but I knew that every expert was once a beginner. I made a conscious effort to embrace the learning curve and break problems down into smaller, manageable steps. Slowly, concepts that once seemed impossible began to make sense. Another challenge was self-doubt. Since I didn't have formal education in programming, I often wondered if I could really compete with those who did. But I learned that coding is about problem solving and persistence, not just degrees. The more I practiced, the more confident I became. I realized that the key to success wasn't just intelligence, it was the ability to keep going even when things got tough. 2. Finding the right path. Learning to code for free. So, how did I even get started? Well, I did what everyone does when they're curious about something. I googled it. I searched how to learn programming for free. And that simple search opened up a whole new world for me. I discovered that there are tons of free resources available. Websites like Free Bootcamp, CS50 by Harvard, and Python tutorials on YouTube were all right there, just waiting for me to take the first step. But I quickly realized that I needed to pick a programming language first. At first, I felt overwhelmed. Should I learn Java? C++? JavaScript? But after some research, I found out that Python is beginner-friendly and widely used in the industry. So I decided to start with Python, and honestly, it was the best decision I made. I watched countless YouTube videos, read free online books, and took interactive lessons on websites like Codecademy and W3 Schools. The more I explored, the more I realized that programming was not as scary as I thought. It was just about breaking down problems and giving computers instructions. If you're just starting out, my advice is don't overthink. Pick one language and start coding. One of the most important things I learned early on was the importance of consistency. I created a learning schedule, dedicating at least 3 minutes 5 hours a day to coding. Some days were harder than others, but I made it a point to show daily. This helped me build momentum and made learning feel more like a habit rather than a chore. There were moments when I felt stuck staring at a book for hours, but I quickly learned that consistency wasn't just about showing up, it was about problem solving. I made a habit of stepping away, taking breaks, and coming back with fresh eyes. More often than not, the solution became clear after a short break or after revisiting the fundamentals. Another thing that helped was setting small, achievable goals. Instead of overwhelming myself with the idea of mastering an entire language, I focused on learning one new concept each day. Whether it was understanding loops, functions, or debugging errors, these small wins kept me motivated and made the learning process feel rewarding rather than frustrating. My first line of code, hello world. Once I decided on Python, I followed a simple tutorial that showed me how to install Python on my computer and write my very first line of code. Print hello world. Seeing that text appear on my screen felt like magic. It was just a simple line, but it made me realize that I had taken my first step into programming. From there, I started learning the basics: variables, loops, functions, and conditionals. Every day, I set aside 4 minutes 5 hours to practice. I didn't understand everything at first, but I kept pushing forward. I solved coding challenges on platforms like LeetCode and Code Wars, and that helped me get better at problem solving. At first, it was frustrating. I got stuck on basic problems and felt like I wasn't making progress. But I kept reminding myself every expert was once a beginner. So I kept going, even when it felt impossible. After a few weeks, things started to click. I could write simple programs, debug errors, and even explain concepts to others. That's when I knew I was on the right track. Another major breakthrough happened when I started writing small programs to automate boring tasks. I created a script to rename multiple files at once, a simple web scraper to collect data, and even a chatbot. These projects made coding feel practical and exciting. As I worked on these projects, I realized how powerful coding can be in solving everyday problems. Automation became my new best friend. I wrote scripts to organize files, send automatic emails, and even track stock prices. It was amazing to see how a few lines of code could save me hours of repetitive work. One of my favorite projects was building a small personal finance tracker. I used Python to read and categorize my expenses from bank statements, giving me insights into my spending habits. This project not only improved my coding skills but also had a direct impact on my personal life, reinforcing the value of programming beyond just career aspirations. Building these small but meaningful projects gave me confidence. I saw firsthand that programming wasn't just about writing code, it was about creating solutions. And the more I built, the more excited I became about the possibilities ahead. Building projects, the game changer. Learning syntax and solving coding challenges is great, but to really level up, I needed to build projects. This is where things got exciting. I started with simple projects: a calculator, a to-do list app, a weather app using an API. These small projects helped me understand how real applications work. Then I pushed myself further by working on a personal portfolio, website, and a basic e-commerce site. I also joined online coding communities and participated in open source projects. This gave me real-world experience and helped me understand how professional developers collaborate. This was a turning point because I realized that coding is not just about writing lines of code, it's about creating something useful. So if you're learning to code right now, start building projects as soon as possible. Even small ones will give you a sense of achievement and help you stand out when applying for jobs. I also started documenting my journey online. Posting about my progress on LinkedIn and Twitter helped me connect with other developers and even got me noticed by recruiters. Your learning journey isn't just personal, it can also be a tool to build your network and increase your chances of landing a job. Sharing my experiences not only helped me stay motivated but also inspired others who were on the same journey. I received messages from people who were just starting out asking for guidance, and that made me realize how powerful a supportive community can be. By interacting with experienced developers, I learned valuable industry insights that I wouldn't have found in tutorials alone. Eventually, my post caught the attention of a hiring manager who reached out for an interview. That conversation led to an opportunity I never would have expected. The simple act of documenting my journey played a crucial role in opening doors I didn't even know existed. So, if you're learning to code, don't be afraid to share your progress, you never know where it might lead. Getting my first job as a programmer. After 3 months of intense learning, I felt ready to apply for jobs. But here's the reality: I had no degree in CS, no bootcamp certificate, and no professional experience. So how did I get hired? I focused on 2 things. 1. Networking. I joined LinkedIn, connected with recruiters, and engaged with people in the tech industry. 2. Building a strong portfolio. I showcased my projects on GitHub and created a simple website to display my skills. I applied to over 50 jobs and got a few interviews. Some companies rejected me because I didn't have a degree, but others were impressed by my self-taught skills. And then it happened. I got an offer from a small software company. My starting salary: $55,000 per year. Within a year, I got a raise and my salary jumped to $75,000 per year. One of the biggest lessons I learned is that you don't need to be the best coder, you just need to show that you can learn and solve problems. Employers care more about your ability to think critically and troubleshoot issues than whether you have a formal education in computer science. Demonstrating curiosity and persistence can be just as valuable as a degree. I also realized that communication skills matter a lot in tech. Being able to explain your thought process, ask the right questions, and collaborate effectively with a team can set you apart from other candidates. Even if you're coding solo, you'll likely need to document your work, contribute to open source projects, or explain your solutions in interviews. Another key takeaway was the importance of continuously learning. Technology evolves rapidly, and the best developers are those who keep up with new trends, tools, and best practices. Staying adaptable and maintaining a growth mindset helped me stay relevant in the industry and opened up even more opportunities for career advancement. Final thoughts: you can do it too. If you take one thing away from this video, let it be this: you don't need a CS degree, a bootcamp, or thousands of dollars to become a programmer. All you need is determination, consistency, and the willingness to keep learning. The journey won't always be easy, but every challenge you overcome will make you a stronger, more capable developer. Every bug you fix, every problem you solve, and every concept you master brings you one step closer to your goal. Remember, the best programmers aren't those who never struggle, but those who refuse to give up. Keep pushing forward, and one day you'll look back and be amazed at how far you've come. Every bug you fix, every line of code you write, and every problem you solve is a step toward mastery. The journey might seem tough at times, but each challenge you overcome builds your confidence and skills. Trust the process, and never be afraid to make mistakes. They are essential to learning. Surround yourself with a supportive community, ask questions, and share your knowledge. Learning to code is not just about memorizing syntax, but about developing a problem-solving mindset that will serve you throughout your career. Keep coding, keep experimenting, and never stop growing. If you're still here, hit the like button, subscribe, and drop a comment if you have any questions. Let's keep pushing forward together.